They've lost 7 straight with Joel Embiid. He got benched yesterday. Listen, I know he's talented, and I know he's worth something. But they chose Embiid as the good guy and Jimmy Butler as the bad guy, and all Butler does is win. Now with the Warriors and then with the Miami Heat. I don't understand his game. He's shooting more threes than ever, and he's bad at it, shooting 29%. He didn't work in the Olympics with other star players. So I've never been a huge Embiid fan. He was gifted an MVP a couple of years ago because people didn't think it was fair that Jokic won 3 straight. Now you're seeing the result of that huge contract. Bad news for the Sixers.
Where Colin was wrong.
T. Higgins looks like he could stay in Cincinnati. Stories today, they are considering strongly a franchise tag. Now, that would probably overpay him for the short term, but my takeaway is outside of Burrow and Jamar Chase, who are you paying? You got one edge rusher. If Philadelphia can pay everybody, including Dom, they should be able to pay Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. He's a really good player. He's durable. He's got a catching radius. I mean, he can take a hit. He can block a little. I'm surprised Cincinnati would open up the wallet here.
Where Colin was right.
We were huge proponents of Jimmy Butler to the Warriors, and they're 5-1 since he arrived. They didn't have a consistent number 2 score. More than that, though, Butler gets to the free throw line, and the Warriors were bottom of the league in that category. Since he arrived, they're top 1 and 2 in the league in free throws attempted and free throws made. He's feisty. He is not a naturally gifted offensive scorer, but he works for it. He forces you to guard him and defend him every time down the floor. And he's the kind of guy that will challenge teammates, his staff. And I just think they needed to be more interesting, and he delivered.
Where Colin was right.
Deebo Samuel, the Niners have told him, you have permission to look for a trading partner. I had said last year I thought he was the odd man out. Kittle still playing at an elevated level. Brandon Ayuk is their down-the-field deep threat. They've got to play Brock Purdy. They drafted 2 receivers. Pearsall, late first round, looks like he can fill that role. Deebo is a really, really good chess piece, and Kyle Shanahan does wonders with those. I'm not sure if he's the same player if he gets a defensive head coach or a staff that doesn't quite understand his value doing many things besides wide receiver. But he felt like the odd man out to me during this season. And the story's now San Francisco willing to move. Colin right, Colin wrong. With that, joining us live, Matt Hasselbeck, 18 years in the NFL.
With the bloody sock. He's always got like a bloody elbow, a bloody hand, like something. I don't see the Rams moving on from Matthew Stafford with the chemistry and the rapport. Like they're just next level. No look passes all day long and going to Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of like, I don't know why you would do that. I think what you would do is maybe that baton, that handoff. So you have, you go from basically find your Jordan Love, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's what I could see happening. But no, I don't see Aaron in that. I don't see him in that situation. Not because I don't think he could do it, but it's kind of, I don't know. They're too similar. The age thing, I wouldn't make that move.
So Shedeur Sanders played a lot of college games. We got a lot of film. A lot of tape. People have seen him. I have a scout friend that went and watched him 3 times. He's not going to throw at the combine. No, Sam. He can be reckless. He's got a little Carson Wentz where, series to series, he looks like the best guy in the league, and then all of a sudden, what does it tell you that a story comes out that Minnesota is considering options here and re-signing him? What does that tell you, Matt?
It tells me that everyone else did their offseason evaluation and it's now getting leaked. He's the number 1 free agent quarterback that people are going to be looking for. Everyone else around the league likes their girlfriend more than they know they should like their girlfriend is basically what I'm saying. They love him. He's their top guy. And he's on the top of their list. And they're like, oh shoot, he's on the top of their list. Like maybe we should relook at him a little bit closer. But they're well positioned. They have JJ McCarthy, they have Daniel Jones, they have options. That'll be an interesting one to see. I think that's the big domino that will decide. I mean, Stafford and Darnold, those are the 2 dominoes that'll decide a lot here.
What are you doing? And we can use Sam Darnold in this. What did you do in late February, early March? What do you do as a quarterback right now?
Yeah, every year is a little bit different. The strength coaches will tell you get away, recharge, play other sports that are safe, obviously, do other types of training. Like if you've never, play pickleball, some guys play basketball, that kind of stuff, cardio, maybe you do CrossFit, Pilates, like whatever. Work on what you think you need to do to get healthy and get back so that you can be ready for your off-season training program. There'll be, some guys go to a quarterback guru. Some people do off-season studies, but a lot of it is something new and fresh and cross training. Remember one year I went to Vancouver and lived up there for a little while and trained with a guy that trained mostly hockey players, hockey and soccer, ironically. And that was incredible for me. One time I went down to Arizona and spent time with a guy that dealt with baseball players and pitchers and that kind of thing. Something different so that and just kind of dabble in the throwing so that when you ramp it up in March and April, you're able to be somebody that can be healthy enough and for competitive throws, I guess. But you don't want to go all out. You really want to peak when you show up for training camp. And it is a unique schedule. Like pitchers and throwers show up in baseball for their season. Football, you come back for OTAs and you come back for voluntary mini camps and you come back for mandatory mini camps. Then you take like a month and a half off so the coaches can go fishing or something like that, get their vacation finally. And then you come back for training camp and that's go time when your arm as a thrower has to be ready to roll.
So we were talking about the Bengals where Joe Burrow all year was cranky. And my take was he wanted to send a message. This was not a coincidence. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, they let players go. What do you make of that? And what did you make of the change?
I think it's great. I think it's a credit to the NFL and the NFLPA, and then also to the special teams coaches who worked in collaboration with the competition committee at the combine and said, hey, here's what we think would work. I think it was data driven, which I really appreciate. There aren't a lot of concussions on punts. There's way too many concussions on kickoffs. How can we make a kickoff look more like a punt? Now, I would say there's sort of the law of unintended consequences. Now your kicker's got to tackle because it's a lot more easy to design up plays. Now your kicker's got to tackle. So I think you probably saw, I don't have the data here. You probably
media in. I don't know. It's one of those things. It has value and I like watching it. You know how certain things over the course of your life, like I love mock drafts. I like the draft more now than ever. I'm not sure I feel as passionately about the combine. I think a lot of it's window dressing. And when I see like guys like McVay not going or Shanahan for years, it's like, well, if they're not going, I know Belichick did, but he didn't draft particularly well. Are you a combine junkie?
So when I had run the website back in the day, like 15 years ago, I went twice, paid for my own way, got hotel rooms, and the access you get is not bad, especially after hours. You're at a bar and guys are just coming up to you. Hey man, I saw what you wrote about me. You have no idea who they are. They're like an assistant GM or whatever. You really meet a lot of people. I thought it was productive. I still text a bunch of them. You can't actually get in the facility to watch the players do the 40. So I don't know that the value is there for you, but it's fun and different. It's a change of pace for sure.
Yeah. All right. Rachel Nichols is joining us in studio later, live in Los Angeles. It's The Herd.